Hello, good evening. My name is Jackson. This is a video outlining how I use Anki and how I'd recommend using it to others. I'm currently in grade 11. I'm doing biology, and Anki is a flashcard app. So if you make flashcards, this is a great option for if you lose flashcards like I do, if you want something more portable than paper flashcard stacks, or if you're trying to go paperless in general. So first up, you gotta install Anki. The app will say Anki, and you'll want to open that. So once you open the app, your screen will show no decks if you're just starting out or you have nothing to upload. I only have 2 decks right now, seeing as I recently lost all my decks when I switched phones last week, so backing up your decks is always a good option if you want to keep your progress. Anki will keep track of how many cards you should be doing in that time period, and as you can see, I have 27 cards to go through today. Along the bottom, it shows that I've studied 0 cards in 0 minutes today. And it will change as you study cards. So for creating your first deck, you'll want to hit the plus button in the bottom right, and you'll see 3 options. You'll want to start with hitting create deck, and what comes up should be where you title your deck. Usually you'll want to go with something related to what your deck is about, but for this, I'm just going to use example video 1, and then you click OK. So now the deck should come up in your list alphabetically, and the way I go about adding cards to the deck itself is to click the deck, click the plus button, and then you just click add. Now, there are 4 different options for making flashcards, but I tend to just stick with the basic or the basic with the back because all 4 of them look the same. As you can see, I will flash the 4 of them quickly here. Basically, they're just personal preference on what you want to use. So, if you don't want just words on your decks, because that can be pretty boring to read and look at for long periods of time, if you use them for long periods of time, you click on the paperclip on the side, and then whatever side you want the attachment on, so like question, answer. From here you can insert an image, audio clip, or record your own audio in the app. So for my example, I'm just going to type something in the question box here. You can use any format for questioning you prefer, but I prefer to mix it up between questions, sentence starters, or multiple choice answers. Then in the lower field, you want to type your answer that you're expected to get by the time that you master the subject. So the eye in the top right corner allows you to view your flashcard before you finalize it, and it should show up like this. First showing the question, you click show answer, the answer should come up. If you go back, you can hit the check mark if you're happy with your card, and it should immediately give you the fields to make another card. You can either make new cards, or you can just go back to your home screen at this point. So if you go back to your home screen, you should see that there are a couple cards in your deck if you've made more than one, and you officially have your first Anki deck. Now, if you click on your deck, it should take you right to studying it, and if you click on the answer, you'll be asked to select how well you understand the question itself. So Anki has 3 options for this. A bad understanding, in which they'll show you the card again in a minute or less to help you remember it. A good understanding, in which they'll show you it in 10 minutes or less, and then a great understanding, in which they'll show it to you in 4 days. So you want to keep revisiting your decks to keep your memory of it up every so often. And it's best to be honest with yourself here, seeing as this is entirely for you. Now, there are a couple other options that we're going to glance through real quick before I let you go. The first one is the card browser. This shows you all your cards with both sides side by side, and it's a good way to look up whether or not you've made a question card with the same question to avoid duplicate cards. So the pros and cons of this app: Anki is a popular app among medical students, and medical students are pretty good at studying, so they must be doing something right. And I personally find it effective as a high school student because it's pretty easy to use, and if you live an active lifestyle or you don't have too much time to be writing out flashcards by hand or reading pages upon pages of notes, this is a better alternative. So I'd recommend this app, as it doesn't take a lot of time to make the flashcards, especially when you're voice typing. That cuts your time in like half or a quarter, and most people bring their phones with them everywhere, so you'll always have your decks and you don't have to worry about losing cards like I used to. Good place to use these: on public transit. So this app also forces active recall, which means you actually have to remember the answer before you go on. And the only real con of this app is that you'll lose your decks if you forget to save them or upload them, so I'd recommend doing that pretty often. So that's how you use Anki, as well as why it's a beneficial app for high school students who either are passionate for learning or minimal time for studying. Thank you for watching this. I hope you found it useful to some extent, and good day.